Who Was the Raja's Son? By Loreto Parasulit. Baybay was once a flourishing barangay by the sea, a happy and prosperous barangay. Those were the just and peaceful times of the ruler, the wise and understanding Raja Bayani. But suddenly, as a clear April sky is torn savagely into dark pieces by thunder and lightning, tragedy struck life in the Baybay barangay, tearing it out of the peaceful contours. The pirates from the south descended with all their fury on the sleeping barangay one early dawn, and they plundered and killed and burned. All the warriors defending Raja Bayani's gleaming bamboo palace fell. That was why the pirates could capture the Raja's young son, little Prince Alon, and his playmate and trusted servant, the faithful Lawin. Swiftly the pirates fled in their leader's Vinta, lean and swift as an arrow. Truly like an arrow it darted across the darkening waters, to be lost for all time it seemed. The remaining warriors rushed to the shore and got a last glimpse of their captured young prince, lashed to the prow like a common captive, but bearing himself like the Raja's son, that he was calm and unafraid. Burned dwellings can be replaced, lost belongings can be found again, but a broken will and a crushed spirit are shattered pieces of the life of a man, whether ruler, freeman, or slave. So Baybay became a leaderless barangay, for the will to live had left the old Raja Bayani when his son was lost to him. He groped about his palace like a blind man. He listened without hearing. He scarcely ate. He slept not at all. Seeing death so clearly marked on his face, his people let him be. Death would be a kindness to the old Raja. Heroically, the people of Baybay worked to build their barangay anew. They built new dwellings, they traded, they farmed, they ruled themselves. But the people never forgot their lost young Raja and his trusted servant. They were faithful people, so the traders plying the open seas dared to go to unlikely places to get news of the captured Prince Alon and his servant, the faithful Lawin. Runners of the barangay peered into every young boy's face in the hope that their young Raja could be found again. The women of the barangay prayed ceaselessly to the gold god Bathala. "Watch over our young Raja, wherever he may be. Please do not let the faithful Lawin weaken in serving Prince alone." They prayed and hoped and waited. They never ceased to wait. Then one day, from the blue sun-drenched seas came a Vinta, long and lean as an arrow. It was manned by two young lads, brown from exposure to the sun and wind, with bleeding hands and rumpled hair. Warriors of Baybay ran to the shore. With throbbing hearts they knew that these lads who had returned were the long-lost Alon and his faithful Lawin. The two boys were strangely alike in all ways. In height, in figure, in the contours of their faces, they could have passed for brothers. They moved lightly as a young deer. They looked at the warriors without a trace of fear, and yet with restraint, as if they were strangers touching unknown land for the first time. How many years have passed since the tragic day that the people of Baybay lost their young prince? 12 long, weary years. Enough time to have matured Alon, the young child of 3, and Lawin into these two sunburnt lads from the sea. And never had the people forgotten that Vinta, long, lean as an arrow. Wondering, one of the lads asked, "Is this the Baybay barangay? We are looking for our people. A long time ago, pirates stole us and took us to the south. We grew up among them as their slaves, but we swore we would be free one day. We escaped, and now we are free. Are you the bye-bye people?" The shore was now crowded with men, women, and children. They stared back in wonder at the two lads. Which one was their prince? The Rajah's son. An elder cried to the heavens, "Thanks be to the good Bathala! He has returned our ruler. Who is Prince Alon?" The two boys gave them puzzled glances. They shook their heads, and one of them answered, "We are nameless. We do not know each other's name. We have forgotten our names. Hunger, hardship, the lashes of our captors drove our names out of our memories. All we remember is bye-bye, for the pirates always call us, 'Hoy, you slaves from bye-bye.' We call each other friend, so you may call us alike, kaibigan." The inhabitants of bye-bye looked at each other. "This cannot be," they said. "One of these boys is Alon, and the other is Lawin. Poor ill-starred boys! How shall we find who is our Rajah's son?" "But Allah will surely give us a sign. In the meanwhile, let us welcome these boys." The boys walked softly on the sand as if on sacred ground. Eagerly, they sniffed the home winds of bye-bye. Truly it was different here. Tears welled into the boys' eyes, and now, unashamed, they let them flow, for they were home at last. Life took on new meaning for the bye-bye barangay. A leader had returned, and all the people took this as an auspicious omen that good old prosperous days would return. Men worked with a lighter heart, and women went through their household tasks, singing their old lullabies. But the elders, the old men of the barangay who formed the advisory council, had a big problem on their hands. How were they to tell the prince apart from his faithful friend? "Why must you worry about it?" laughed one of the boys. "Make each of us the ruling Rajah alternately. Each of us will serve for one full moon. Is that not an answer to the problem?" Then the other rejoined, "We have suffered together. Without each other, we would not have won our freedom. Now we must share everything." The elders shook their heads and looked at the boys with compassionate understanding. How could they tell these lads that one ruled not with strength or just the willingness to share and give? But that is a divine power that guides the rightful ruler when times of stress come. How to find out? How? Without telling the boys, the elders sent them through tests of their courage, their strength, their keenness in judgment, their quickness in understanding, their resourcefulness in danger and uncertainty. And both the lads were equally brave, keen, hardy, resourceful, and alert, for he who had been the servant had lost the shackles of servitude and served in freedom and equality. He who had been prince had given up his cold aloofness and lived freely and on terms of equality with his companion. But the destiny to rule had been given to one of these lads, and the destiny had to be fulfilled. While the elders worried and sighed and racked their brains for a solution, the boys hunted and swam and sailed on the seas around the barangay. One day, they came upon a vinta sailing secretly near the shores of Baybay. The keen eyes of the boys picked out the lone occupant of the spying vinta. The long years of their cruel capture had carved in their memory that slouching figure. He could be no other than one of the pirates from the south. Relentlessly the boys gave pursuit, and the cornered spying pirate, losing his bearings, grounded his vinta on the unseen rocks of Baybay shore. Some boy from the barangay had seen the pursuit, so when the boys landed, there was quite a crowd to give fierce welcome to this pirate. But he was a courageous one who had known the dangers when he set out on this hazardous trip. As he looked on his captors, his eyes lighted up with recognition when he saw the two boys. "Ah!" he snarled. "Our former slaves from Baybay." Although one was not a slave, but a what? Leaped the question from the elders. "Ara's son," smiled the pirate. "Which one?" the elders eagerly asked. "Which one?" repeated the pirate mockingly. "I do not remember that," he continued with a sneer. The warriors leaped on him in fury, but the pirate knew well he was safe as long as he had the secret with him. So he taunted them and said, "Perhaps I can remember for a price. Perhaps I can remember which is the Rajah's son if I can be free." "To the crocodiles!" decided the old man in fury. "Throw him to the crocodiles to be torn slowly apart until he gives the answer. Pirate, do you understand? You shall not escape, and neither shall you keep your secret. We have our way of tearing secrets from swollen lips." The pirate paled in spite of himself. He had heard of the crocodiles of Baybay and how they gnawed at captives morsel by morsel from toe to head until life was completely gone from them. The pirate gazed wildly from man to man, from warrior to free man, from the youth to the old. In every eye he saw only the hard, cruel judgment. These people had waited all these years for the reckoning, and they were going to have it at the gleaming edge of crocodile's teeth. Then from the crowd one of the boys stepped forward, speaking naturally as a leader speaks. "Let this pirate go," he commanded. "He shall not say he declared who is Ara's son through fear and torture. Let him keep his secret forever, for not one of us can tell whether his answer has been true or false. Surely the good Bathala will give us a sign to tell who the Rajah's son is." Then the people of Baybay saw the boy in a new light. Truly he was the fairer, the taller one, the more divine one. For when all the rest of them, including his companion, were blinded with a common desire for revenge, here was a boy who saw crystal clear and justly. As one, the people turned to him and knew that they had seen the sign. They cried, "Truly you are Alon! You are the son of our just and understanding Rajah." And that is the story of Loreto Parasulit, who was the Rajah's son.